My Sophie guest, Ian Weaver, going to find out more about Ian and his novel, by the way, which is called what, sorry?
Time and Again.
Time and Again. It's about a fighter pilot.
It's about all sorts of things. There's a couple of heroes that run side by side in it. One's a World War II fighter pilot, and the other's a helicopter observer.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing, because there's a bit of life on Mars going on here.
Well, yeah... But if I'm just talking about it, it sounds like that. But if you read the book, there's absolutely no resemblance whatsoever.
Okay.
Good morning.
Is that John Phillips?
It is.
So you heard about our guest then?
Yes, I came across him, or he came across me once, a little while ago.
Morning, John.
Good morning, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm fine, thanks so much. How's the family? All right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Yeah.
Right, we should explain. John Phillips is the man, because Ian Weaver had a serious accident with his Tornado, was involved in a collision with another one. He was in the back seat and was seriously injured when he ejected from the aircraft. And they came down on the parachutes, and the man who saw them come... Well, it was actually... Was it your son, John?
Yeah, it was sort of early in the morning, and there was Ian about 8:30, 8:45, something like that. And Matthew, my youngest son, was outside, came running in, said he'd seen an aircraft crash, and eventually we believed what he said he'd seen, and the parachutes came down out of the sky. As Ian was saying earlier on, I got dressed very quickly and rushed over to where Ian had gone over the top of the house, and he and his pilot landed in the field pretty close to the house, and then Ian was lying there, out of it sort of thing, and stayed with him and helped him get back on an even keel.
Gosh, your pulse must have been going at about 160 a minute at this stage.
It was a long time, it seemed. I think it was, I don't know, half an hour or so out there. But it was so exciting, that you didn't feel the cold or anything. It was January the 10th, and it.
Well, it's not every day a tornado crashes in your backfield, is it?
Well, fortunately not.
No, thank goodness. Thank goodness. But you hadn't perhaps realised just how seriously injured Ian was at this stage.
I had no idea how bad he was. I obviously realised he was ill, and he was sort of lying there with no helmet on.
Well, I'll let you say cheerio.
Right, well, cheers, John.
See you, mate. Well, give us a bell soon. We'll get together.
Yep, love to jam.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in, John. Really nice to hear from you. And congratulations for what you did. You kept a level head when perhaps others would have gone.
Right. Nice talking to you guys.
All the very best. Sir John Phillips, the man who, saved your life, essentially, because he knew roughly what to do.
That's right. There's no question that he saved my life. Absolutely.
But talk about the book now, because this I think it's fascinating, the fact that you'd actually written about a pilot who was injured long before you were in that situation.
That's right. I actually started the book back in 1990, early-ish. I can't remember exactly when I first got my 486 computer, so that gives a clue as to the date. And I was just learning how to use a word processor. So tapping away, started as a short story. It evolved. Guy crashed in a military flying accident. I used my experiences from the Navy, search and rescue, that side of thing, to enable me to put some realism into the book. And it wasn't meant to be a book, it was just a short story, and it grew as I got more and more involved. Guy ends up in a coma, guy ends up with head injury, shoulder injury, chest injuries, very similar to my own.
Wow. And
then this, as you call it, the life on Mars bit starts to go on. But it is a lot different to life on Mars. But that was back in 93, 94 when I was writing that.
And actually finishing the book, I mean, getting to that stage.
It is. What actually happened is I got to the book to a point that I decided it was finished. It would have been quite a short book. About 75,000 words at that point. I contacted literally 100 literary agents who were not interested in even reading one chapter. So I shelved it, put it away, had the accident during my rehab. I then used my rehab experiences to bring that added realism to the rehab of the Observer in the book, and got it going and wrote more and more and more, and it's now 127,000 words or something. It just evolved and evolved, and my wife Fran encouraged me to continue, and it was a chance meeting with my publisher, which...
Well, I was going to say, how did you, having failed to get it published before, or to arouse any interest in it, what was the difference this time?
Right, well, it was purely by chance. I was walking through Lincoln Book Fair earlier this year, I think it was, and I was walking past the stall, and I saw a book, and I thought, oh, that's my solicitor's book. I recognise that. I picked it up, looked at it, and... this fella came over to me and started chatting to me, and he was the publisher of my solicitor's book. And I said, oh, I've written a book. He said, oh, well, email it me and I'll have a read and see what I think. And I did that, and he loved it. And 5 chapters in, he phoned up, and I wasn't in, but he said to my wife, just tell him his publisher's rung. And I came home and I thought, and this was on a Sunday morning, and by the time I got on the phone, he'd read another couple of chapters, and he said, I just can't put it down. He loved it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a fantastic story. Every budding writer at home now is heaving a big breath, a big sigh. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, look, we'll talk some more in just a couple of minutes' time. We're going to find out what's happening on the roads first.
Traffic and travel.
From BBC Radio Lincolnshire.
My surfer guest this morning is an amazing guy called Ian Weaver. It's been my privilege on the Breakfast Show here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire this morning to meet Ian Weaver. He's done so much in his life. He was with the Navy, and we haven't really talked about your Navy days much, because you were with Search and Rescue, by and large.
I was
Sea Kings?
I did Search and Rescue as a secondary role in Sea Kings, yeah. I did a little bit in Wasps as well.
Yeah. Just funny little things.
Funny little tiny things with the engine on the outside. Yeah. Scary.
And the search and rescue side of it, I mean, you must have gotten some fairly hairy situations there.
Yeah, one or two. Just going down on fishing boats at night. You know, I remember on one occasion we went out middle of the night to a guy that a 900-kilogram weight had fallen on him and squashed him. 400 seamen. So we went out to this boat, and normally as the observer or navigator, I would lower our winchman down to the deck of the boat, and he would go down with the doctor and sort the guy out and winch him back up again. But I took one look out of the doorway of the helicopter and thought, well, if I try and lower this guy down there, I'll kill him. I'm not that good. I knew my limitations. It was a secondary role. So I said, you better put me down, and down I went, and that was probably the hairiest one I did. But we got the guy up and got him to Exeter Hospital, and he was fine.
So, hang on a minute, you didn't feel confident enough to put somebody else down there, but you were prepared to let somebody else do it to you?
Yeah, because the guy that was doing it, it was his primary role.
Oh, I see.
So his primary role as an air crewman was to be on the wire going down, but if necessary, lower me down, and him lowering me down was safer than me lowering him down.
And I take it the weather conditions were not too good?
The weather conditions were appalling. It was dark, it was windy, low cloud, big seas. But just good. Well, I got back from that, went back home, got to bed, and about half an hour later the beeper went off again, and off we went again to a French boat that was sinking. But I said I can't talk if I laugh. That was cancelled just as we were leaving the Air Force, the airfield, because the French boat had actually sunk, and there was nothing for us to do. The guys had been picked up by other fishing boats. The boat had gone. So we came back, went to bed.
Now, you're writing already, and this is the fascinating thing about your writing, the writing side of things. You're already writing the sequel to this book, which is about to be printed.
Yep. Sort of the same characters, same team, going completely different story, but there are threads going through it which lead from the first book, and they will eventually lead into a third, so it'll end up as a trilogy. As long as my publisher likes the second one, I'll go on to write the third one.
You seem to like the first one well enough. So how does it feel to be a published author?
It's great. I'm just looking forward to actually seeing the book in print.